Within the Greco-Roman world between the 3rd and 7th centuries, a new philosophy began to emerge which synthesized centuries of Greek and Hellenistic philosophy, religion, and literature. That school of thought is now known as Neoplatonism, which took the place of Stoicism and Epicureanism as the dominant ideological system of the time. The Neoplatonists integrated concepts from their intellectual predecessors in order to develop a comprehensive system which seamlessly blended metaphysics with spirituality in an attempt to explore humanity's place in the cosmos and our relationship with the divine. At the core of Neoplatonism is the concept of emanation and return, the idea that all reality flows from a single highest principle known as the One and ultimately returns to it. The process of emanation allows subsequent layers to derive their essence from the One without being separate from it, much like the rays of light emanating from the sun. Importantly, emanation is not a linear sequence of stages as, for example, in physical evolution. Instead, it is both a state of being and a psychological or spiritual journey. All stages of the hierarchy of reality, ranging from the One to the material world, are continuously present, operating simultaneously. This framework illustrates a vision of existence that is highly structured yet profoundly interconnected, where each level of reality is bound together in a dynamic and unified whole. The highest principle from which all things emanate is known in Neoplatonism as the One. It is ineffable and beyond human comprehension, transcending all language, thought, and perception. The One is a perfect singular entity from which everything flows through a process of increasing multiplicity. The first stage of this process of emanation is known as the nous, or divine intellect, which serves as the blueprint for all existence, bridging the perfect unity of the One with the multiplicity of the material world. Through its contemplation of the One, the nous generates a structured multiplicity of ideas, much like how the human mind generates thoughts. However, the nous is not only capable of this divine thought process, but can also serve as the object of thought, achieved through the second stage of emanation, the soul. The soul, or psyche, serves as the animating force that organizes and sustains the material world. The world soul governs the cosmos, while individual souls emanate from it. Much like the nous, the soul orients itself in two directions, upwards towards the divine intellect, or nous, and downwards towards the material world, thus bridging the gap between the spiritual and the physical realms. Neoplatonists believe that the ultimate goal of the human soul was to return to its divine origin within the nous, and ultimately to reunite with the wholeness of the One. In this way, the human soul is not only a manifestation of the divine, but also a participation in it. Philosophical contemplation, religious ritual, and meditation are just some of the pathways for the human soul to engage with the divine intellect and thus make the ascent back to the One. Higher states of consciousness, mystical feelings of awe and wonder, or musical and artistic appreciation could all be viewed as the soul desiring reunification with the new, and ultimately the One. During these brief encounters, our soul obtains a glimpse of the divine intellect and is reminded of its transcendent origin. Thus, every instance of spiritual insight or elevated consciousness is a step towards the soul's ultimate return to the One, where it can experience true unity and fulfillment. Neoplatonism went on to profoundly influence much of early Christian thought, shaping the works of theologians from Origen of Alexandria and Augustine of Hippo in the 2nd and 4th centuries, all the way through to Thomas Aquinas in the 13th century. These thinkers integrated Neoplatonic ideas into their conceptions of God, the nature of Jesus Christ, and the structure of creation. Within Christian thought, God is the singular, ineffable source of all creation, akin to the concept of the One in Neoplatonism. Jesus Christ, the Son of God and often characterized as the Logos, or the Word of God, serves a role similar to the nous. His incarnation on earth reflects the capacity of the divine to interact with creation, serving as the mediator between the material world and the divine source, similar to how the nous guides souls back to the One. Interestingly, many biblical stories that predate Neoplatonism can be viewed through the philosophy's lens, and specifically the concept of emanation and return seems to consistently emerge. The parable of the prodigal son, for example, can be read as a symbolic narrative of the soul's journey away from and return to God. In this story, the son leaves his father's house and becomes entangled in the superficial distractions of the material world. His eventual return to his father symbolizes the soul's innate desire to reunite with the One through a deep realization of the ultimate futility of worldly pursuits. The story of Adam and Eve can also be interpreted as an allegory for the soul's descent into the material world. When Adam and Eve disobey God and eat from the forbidden tree, they are subsequently banished from the Garden of Eden, symbolizing the moment the soul separates from its divine origins. This transition marks the beginning of their entanglement in the material realm, reflecting the Neoplatonic notion of the soul's fall from unity with the divine into a world of multiplicity and separation. The Neoplatonic structure can also be observed in modern-day psychotherapy. The lower self, or ego, is often preoccupied with the superficial aspects of the material world and thus locked in a state of perpetual distress. Psychotherapy emphasizes a transcending of this lower self into a realm of higher understanding, self-awareness, and wisdom, paralleling the Neoplatonic journey of ascent back to the unity of the One. Carl Jung's theories emphasize the reintegration of fragmented aspects of the self in order to bridge the conscious and unconscious elements of the psyche. This process aims to achieve well-being and wholeness, reflecting the Neoplatonic idea of returning to a state of harmony. The religious, spiritual, and psychological parallels within Neoplatonism are a testament to the philosophy's profound and intuitive structure. The core principles of emanation and return provide a powerful framework for understanding key concepts across religious, spiritual, and psychological traditions. By applying Neoplatonism to the modern world, we can begin to bridge the gap between the material and the divine, integrating all layers of reality and gaining a deeper insight into the more mystical aspects of the human experience. Whether through introspective contemplation, transcendent experience, or meditative practices, we can attempt to understand the motivating forces that drive our higher selves and embark on the personal journey back to the source.